Yo, what's going on, guys? CultofMush back at it with the top 10 RPGs available in the Steam Autumn Sale. In the last video, when I talked about the sale, I asked if you guys wanted to see videos like this, and the answer was a resounding yes. So I thought we'd start off with RPGs. This is the genre that I am the most experienced in. Without further ado, let's get right into this with number 10. These aren't ordered in any specific way. All of these games, in my opinion, are great in their own way. For number 10, obviously, we gotta give a mention to The Witcher. The Witcher 2 Assassins of Kings is available for $3. Witcher 1 is available for $1.50, and then The Witcher 3 is available for $20, and the Game of the Year edition, which includes both DLC packs, is available for $30. So $20 for The Witcher 3 is still kind of expensive, but $20 for that game is ridiculously good if you've actually played that game. I paid $60 for it when it came out. Honestly, I would have been okay paying like $100 for that game. That game was amazing, so much content in it. And the Game of the Year edition, to get both DLC packs, which add a significant amount of content, that's also a very good option as well. If you've never played Witcher, however, I would definitely pick up The Witcher 2 for $3. That game is great, and what it has over The Witcher 1 is that it hasn't aged as poorly. Witcher 2, in my opinion, still visually looks great. The gameplay is still pretty good. It's not the big open world that The Witcher 3 is. It's a much more linear experience, but it'll still take you about 15 to 20 hours to complete, and that is a decent amount of content for only $3. Number 9, we've got Deus Ex Human Revolution Director's Cut, available for 75% off, $5. Deus Ex Mankind Divided just came out back in August, so I thought Human Revolution, it's a pretty good time to pick up the game. Mankind Divided follows the same character, same universe, all that kind of jazz. So if you're thinking about picking up Mankind Divided, definitely would recommend to just pick up Human Revolution first if you haven't played it. And in all honesty, personally, I think Human Revolution is a better game. They're both very good, but considering Human Revolution is available for $5 for the Director's Cut, definitely a very good deal. And Deus Ex is also another RPG that isn't a big open world. It's more of a linear experience. It does have a lot of side content, but the game is always moving in one direction, and what I really like about Deus Ex is that there's a lot of replayability to the game. There's so many different options in how you want to play the game. Do you want to go guns blazing, take a more stealthy approach, disable all the cameras, put praxis points in this or that? A lot of options when you're playing Deus Ex Human Revolution, and for $5, a great RPG. Number 8, we've got Valkyria Chronicles, a JRPG, a strategy RPG. And yes, for a lot of people, it might not be up your alley. It is a Japanese game with a more anime art style. The art style, in my opinion, to Valkyria Chronicles looks fantastic. It's got this watercolor look, and it just looks really good. And the game is told through this unique storybook, which is very different than your typical RPGs. It's not like you're exploring a world at all. The story is told through the storybook, and then there's sections you'll have to play where it plays out as a strategy RPG. But there isn't any exploring towns or anything like that. This game was originally released on the PlayStation 3 back in 2008, so visually it doesn't look amazing, but like I said, the art style is on point. The gameplay is really good. If you're into strategy RPGs, I would definitely check it out. And even if you're not into JRPGs or Japanese games, I would still recommend checking it out. For $6.79, it's a really good game, and it's got a lot of content. If you want to complete the game, do everything, it'll take you about 30 to 40 hours, and on PC, it is a very good PC version, so make sure to give it a look. Number 7, I thought I would give a mention to one of the classic indie games, and that's Bastion. This is a game that was released back in 2011, and when it came out, there was a lot of critical acclaim surrounding it. It's regarded as one of the best indie games of all time, but at this point in 2016, I think a lot of newer gamers have forgotten about it or haven't checked it out because it's not promoted as much. So I wanted to give a mention to Bastion, which is a great indie RPG. The story is amazing, the art style is fantastic, the world design, the soundtrack, it's all great, the gameplay is really good, and it's available for only $3.79. This is a game that's been available in the Humble Bundles in the past, but I don't really foresee it being in a Humble Bundle anytime soon, given how old it is. It's like 5 years old, but for $3.74, it's a fantastic game. This is made by the same guys that more recently released the game Transistor, so if you played that, you should definitely go back and play Bastion. Bastion, in my opinion, is a better game than Transistor, and I regard it as a top-tier indie game, up there with games such as Limbo. Number 6, we've got Fallout. Fallout 3 Game of the Year Edition is available for $10. Fallout New Vegas Game of the Year Edition is available for $10. Alternatively, the Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas base games are available for $3.29. The Game of the Year Edition gives you all of the DLC content, which for Fallout 3 is a lot, and New Vegas, it's also a lot. So I would recommend just picking up the Game of the Year Edition. $10, that's not expensive, and you're getting a lot of content. Fallout 4 is also discounted discounted to $19.79, which for a game that's only a year old, that is pretty good. Unfortunately, the season pass is still at $30, so that's kind of a shame. If you want to pick up both Fallout 4 and the season pass, that's going to run you nearly $60. And yeah, that's a little bit expensive to PC gamers, but the base game for $19.79, that's not bad. And Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas are always good pickups in these sales. They're always discounted to around $10, and the base game for $3.29 is also really good. Next up, number 5, we've got the Borderlands 2 Game of the Year Edition for $8.79. Borderlands 2 alternatively is available solo for $5, and you can pick up both Borderlands Game of the Year Edition and Borderlands 2 Game of the Year Edition in a bundle for $10. I don't really see any need to pick up both Borderlands and Borderlands 2 if you've never played either of them. I would say just get the Borderlands 2 Game of the Year Edition for $8.79. That's a ton of content for your money. Borderlands 2, just the base game, if you want to do everything, that's going to take you a long time, and then you throw in all of the DLC and you're going to be busy for a long time. And Borderlands is always regarded as a game that's the best played co-op, and don't get me wrong, playing Borderlands 2 co-op is a better experience than playing solo, but I beat Borderlands 2 playing by myself and I really enjoyed it. I don't think this is a game where you need a group of friends to play it with. Sure, that option is there, and if you have a group of friends that are playing Borderlands 2, by all means jump in with them, but don't be scared away from the game thinking you can't play it solo, because in my opinion, that is not true at all. You can play through the game solo and it's a lot of fun, and this is a game that when it came out, it looked amazing on PC, and to this day, it still looks really good. And now with all of the modern GPUs out, you should be able to max it out no problem at 1440p even. Moving on to number 4, we've got another highly regarded indie game. Undertale is 50% off, down to $5. When it came out back in 2015, everybody was talking about it. The Steam reviews is overwhelmingly positive at 97%. That is just insane. And Undertale is one of those games that you have to play. It's only available on PC, and it's a very interesting and different RPG where it really makes you think. At times you think it's humorous, and at times it's very dark. And by the end of Undertale, you just realize you played one hell of a game. Sure, it's not amazing visually. It reminds me of a game like Earthbound back on the Super Nintendo, but Undertale isn't a game that's sold based off its visuals. Obviously, you can tell that. And at $5, it's a really solid pickup. Would I have liked to see it at 75% off for $2.50? Sure, but it's easily worth $5. Next up, we've got South Park: The Stick of Truth, 75% off, knocking it down to $7.50. I absolutely love South Park: The Stick of Truth, and this is coming from a person that was never really a big fan of the South Park TV show. I watched a few episodes, I thought it was funny, but I never got into it, and it wasn't something that I consistently watched. The video game, however, was great. It's hilarious. I'm sure fans of South Park get an even bigger kick out of it. Me just being a casual South Park fan, I absolutely got a kick out of it. And the gameplay is really good. It's a solid RPG with solid foundation and mechanics. And what people always say about the game is that it looks like South Park. It's true to South Park, and it very much is. Unlike other RPGs, this isn't a game that's going to take you forever to complete. I believe I beat this game in like 10 hours. I have 12 hours clocked on it in Steam, but still that 12 hours was an absolute blast of hilarity, fun, and solid RPG gameplay. Number 2, we've got the Dragon Age Origins Ultimate Edition, 75% off, also at $7.50. This includes Dragon Age Origins, Dragon Age Origins Awakening, and all of the other DLC. Dragon Age is an odd franchise. A lot of people really like it, and I think a lot of people consider Dragon Age Origins to be the best game in the series. Dragon Age 2 just became too much of an action game. I thought Dragon Age Inquisition was really good, but that game is still a little bit expensive. And I think most would consider Dragon Age Origins to be the best game in the series, especially because with this one, BioWare really catered towards PC gamers. And this one, you could tell, was a PC RPG. The console version of Dragon Age Origins was just not very good. And this is another game that has a ton of content. Dragon Age Origins, if you want to do everything, that's going to take you like 150 hours. Awakening adds about another 30 to 50 hours of gameplay, and then you've got all the other DLC too. It's a lot of content. Technically, it does fall behind. It was released back in 2009, and at that time, it wasn't like it was an amazing looking game. But still, when you're jumping into a game like this, I don't think visuals is super important. And it still does look okay, but you can tell when playing it, it is an older game. Finally, number 1, the Mass Effect Collection is 75% off, down from $35 to $8.74. This includes Mass Effect and Mass Effect 2, the Digital Deluxe Edition. $8.74 for Mass Effect 1 and Mass Effect 2 is a damn good deal. Mass Effect 1 was released back in 2007, so it hasn't aged all too well, but I actually played through it about 2 to 3 years ago, and I found it to be decent enough. Some of the gameplay mechanics just haven't aged all that well. Mass Effect 2, on the other hand, playing it today, it's still amazing. It really got down the shooting mechanics, And the gameplay itself is more of a complete third-person shooter, and the dialogue and the story is still amazing in Mass Effect 2. That part's good in Mass Effect 1, but the first game just really lacked on the gameplay side. Mass Effect 2 really remedies that, and it's just a far better game. The thing is, you can buy the collection for $8.74, and if you want to buy Mass Effect 2 alone, it's $7.50, so I would just drop the extra $1.25 and get both games, because the Mass Effect games are obviously very connected through their stories. And if you want to get into the series, you should play the first game, then you should play the second game, and then you should play the third game, and then you should play Andromeda when that drops next year. Unfortunately, Mass Effect 3 is not available on Steam. If you want that, you'll have to jump over to Origin. That game is very good. Some people hate on the ending, and that hate is definitely justified. But if you're gonna play through Mass Effect, and if you want to get into this series, you gotta play through all 3 games. So that wraps up the top 10 RPGs available in the Steam Autumn Sale. Let me know what you guys think, if you've picked up any of these games, if you want to see any other genres covered. Let me know in the comment section down below. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.